And away we go. It is the aftermath. Tough one. Cincinnati falls 44-41 at Texas Tech. We'll be talking about that one for the next couple weeks, obviously. This show brought to you by our good friends at Mio's Pizza. Great pizza, great food, great drinks, great specials, and of course, Cincy Light on tap. Get your fill. Go visit our friends Mio's on Short Vine. They will get you taken care of before the game, after the game, anytime you happen to be on campus. Go see our friends at Mio's. All right, Aaron. That's a tough one. 44-41. Nathan Hawks misses a field goal at the horn to potentially tie it up and send the game to overtime. Overtime would have been wild because neither of those teams could stop each other. But it was what we expected. It was a heck of a game. It was I give Cincinnati a lot of credit for showing some fight. Love you too, Jeffrey. Hi, everybody. It's hard to overcome. They turned it over twice. Texas Tech turned that into 14 points, one on a pick six. And then Evan Pryor fumble. They scored 6 plays later. So they get 14 points. Cincinnati gets 1 turnover on special teams on the punt, and they only get 3. And in a lot of ways, that kind of shifted the momentum in the middle of the game. The two Hawks missed field goals. Both of them, unfortunately, Aaron, he hit straight as an arrow.
He's gotta work on that whole ice thing.
I mean, he hit them straight as you could possibly hit them. The one from the left hash stayed exactly straight and just missed left. The one from the right hash stayed exactly straight and just missed right.
Then you've got to move him off the hashes.
Yeah.
You get him one job. Move him off the hashes. Especially if you're going to run the ball. Especially if you're going to run the ball anyway in the last minute of the game. Hated that call.
Yeah, I think I'm guessing that was RPO based on box numbers. Just doing the math, and you think you're able to sneak one in on them. I made a couple calls on the way home, so we'll discuss the targeting thing. Brendan Sorsby gives himself up, slides. The officials with their eyes directly on the play do not call anything. The lead official, who is all the 30 yards away from the play, throws his flag and calls targeting because that can be reviewed.
He called it because he knew something happened. He just didn't know what it was because he was 30 yards away.
Right. So he throws the flag. He calls targeting. They go to the monitor. It was close. I mean, I don't have an overall issue that they didn't call targeting on that play. There was a slight bit of contact with the helmet to helmet, but the flag is Brendan Sorsby gave himself up, and the defender launched himself into a quarterback that is sliding. That is an unsportsmanlike penalty, which you cannot review. So if the guys with their eyes on the play throw the flag, it's an unsportsmanlike, and then they review for targeting to see if the guy is ejected. Because the flag was thrown for targeting, you're allowed to review that, and if they deem it's not targeting, they can, in that only that situation, pick up the flag if they deem it's not targeting. And then, because they assume, I guess the rule is, if there was no flag on the play, then it would have taken you time to get back up and get to the line of scrimmage and run a play. There's a 10-second runoff. That's insane. That's insane that is a 10-second runoff. But that is the rule.
If it's the ref's error, there should be, how do you penalize a team for the ref's error, first and foremost?
Right.
Let's start there. Second, I believe that Sorsby actually gave himself up late, and I think that if you're going to call anything there, you should have called targeting because the guy launched himself like a Scud missile with nothing but the crown of his helmet leading the way. And it did make contact with Soares. Yes, it did. It I don't care. It hit him in the head. It hit the player in the head, and that's what matters.
Targeting is crown of the helmet in that situation.
You can't lead with the crown of your helmet, which is exactly what he did. In any case, Soaresby's head bounces off the turf. It is what it is. I'm less worried about that. More concerned about the fact that it was a Swiss cheese defense for the vast majority of third down today. My
third down was
goodness.
Especially in the first half, Aaron, not as much in the second half. In the first half, they were dominant on first and second down by and large. And it felt like third and long every play. Now, I will say that Texas Tech offense is loaded. Like, we look at the Cincinnati offense and we talk about how good we think they are. That Texas Tech offense, and guess what? Taj Brooks didn't get hurt. Corey Kiner did. So that
like a redo on that. Like, I'm going to reset the game because my star player got hurt. Let me
carries for 9 yards.
Let me go with the computer again on this garbage.
Yeah. So in closing, it should have been an unsportsmanlike for launching yourself at the quarterback.
By the crown.
Like, that should have been the call. The targeting, the problem with that is it's a judgment call from the official, and he didn't, I'm guessing, Aaron, what happened is he didn't think it was targeting live. So when he goes into the box, he threw the flag so that they could review it. And if it was targeting, they could call it. And if it wasn't targeting, they could wave it off. That's why he threw the flag. Let's make no mistake about that.
Let's not forget that they were down a referee on the ref crew because Texas Tech used the ref as a pick, and the announcers refused to discuss that it was a pick, saying only that who was back there? It was Jordan Robinson. Jordan Robinson's back there, throws up his hands because he's wondering where his safety help is. No, he threw up his fucking hands because he wondered why the ref was in the way, and nobody said anything. It was unbelievable. And then the guy gets up, he's walking like he has a peg leg, and there's still, I don't know what happened to him. Let's go back to the replay and look. Oh, the 4 times you watched it, you didn't see the fucking ref in the way. It was unbelievable.
I don't think you can do anything about that, though. I don't think
you can't. It was just the announcers being idiots. That's what you can
Rod
do.
Gilmore's awful.
You can get new announcers because they're terrible at their jobs.
Rod Gilmore's awful. He's always been awful. He will always be awful. I'm glad I was in a bar that was packed with UC fans, so I didn't have to hear him. He's terrible. Yeah, I mean, it felt, here's the thing though, Aaron. It felt like a game that if we watched that last year when momentum started to shift and go the other way, that team would have folded. And this team gives up a 14-3 lead, should have gone into halftime up 2 scores. Instead, you go in tied. You come out with a chance in the second half to take a lead. You fumble. They take it in for a touchdown, which gives them all of the momentum. Then you get the pick 6 as Cincinnati's trying to claw back, puts them up 14, dead in the water. And instead, they do a phenomenal job of not giving in. They get the stop that they had to get. They get the ball back with 1:53. You have 2 20-second runoffs, and then you have the
Was that the only punt of the game? I think that was Texas Tech's only punt of the game.
Yeah, because the other one was turnover on downs. They went for it on 4th down and didn't get it.
The only punt of the game happens in the last 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever it was. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So they put themselves in a position where they probably shouldn't have, it should have been Texas Tech pulling away through the 4th quarter, and Cincinnati didn't let that happen. You know why, Aaron? Brendan Sorsby is really fucking good.
He did make a mistake tonight.
He made a bad throw. He made a bad decision. It was a blitz. You throw it out of bounds. You throw it away.
He was throwing it as he gets hit, and it goes tip drill. I mean, whatever. That's it. Just I'm with you though. It changed the momentum. Those two turnovers were killer. And then you get the ball coming out of the half. You're supposed to do something with it, and
you have a great play on first down. They get a first down on a pass play that's really good. Okay, here we go. Let's get moving. Evan Pryor fumbles. 6 plays later, they score a touchdown. And instead of trying to build back up to a double-digit lead with a field goal at the horn at half and then coming out and getting the ball, you're down 7. Ouch.
Well, and that's why I was excited, though, that we were getting the ball after the half. I'm like, oh, well, this is going to put us in the lead. And in this shootout of a game, you want to be the one who's always scoring first, not last.
Yeah. Right.
It puts you in a bad spot, as we saw.
Yeah. The offensive line overall played well. There was some pressure, but Texas Tech was sending numbers. And for the most part, Sorsby ate their pressure up. And he made smart decisions to run.
At no point in time was I yelling at my TV because of the offensive line play. At no point in time. I do apologize.
That was just a matter of when does Chad get home from the Holy Grail.
It was that. I do apologize for setting a time and starting early. The good news is with YouTube, you can go back and listen to the rest of it.
Yeah. But overall, Sorsby was unbelievable. Especially Kiner goes down. Evan Pryor goes down. Chance Williams is not available. Manny Kobe gets hurt on the last drive. That was a killer too, Aaron, because they would not have subbed on that play, so Texas Tech could not have subbed. Manny Kobe turns his ankle and has to hop off the field while the clock is running, which means that's a substitution. So then Texas Tech gets to take your sweet-ass time.
I think that needs to be addressed as they're tweaking rules and changing things, because we've now gotten rid of the stoppage of the clock on first downs and all of that. Outside of the last 2 minutes of a half, I think they need to set some type of either stop the clock when the other team is running off the field, which that's on timekeeper, or give them a time limit, or you get 5 seconds to make your sub or whatever the case may be, and then you can hike it. And if they're still on the field, that's on you.
Yeah. They got to do something with it because defenses are using it to control the clock. And that was not, and the problem is if Kobe goes down, that's another 10-second runoff. And they only had, 20 seconds left to begin with. So they had that, which cost them 10, 15 seconds. And then they had the 2 20-second runoffs. You're looking like an extra. Imagine how different that is with an extra 35 seconds for them to keep moving the ball down the field. X got hurt on the first play of the last drive. I did not see him come back out there, but again, I was at the Holy Grail.
Sterling Burkhalter was in. I was looking.
That's what I thought, but Kobe was 13 seconds. So, 33 seconds essentially run off by, the final drive, which they get it with a minute 53. That's a pretty significant portion of your time to get down the field and score. Frustrating, but
or at least have a better field goal.
Yeah. Do they no longer stop the clock outside of 2 minutes? They stop it on a first down enough for the ball to be set, and then they run it, and then out of bounds. Outside of 2 minutes, I don't think they can. Can you not use the timeout to eliminate a runoff? I think you can, but at that point, they needed a time, like they, just in case they wanted a timeout in their pocket.
Yeah, in case
they needed it to.
In case you want to run an RPO with less than a minute left for reasons I'll never understand.
like I said, I'm guessing that was a check at the line, looking at the numbers that Texas Tech had in the box. That's where that usually comes from, is you look at the numbers in the box and you try to sneak one up the middle on them when they're dropping everybody into coverage. I know I don't love it either, but that's the football thinking on that play.
If Sorsby isn't throwing for, what did he end up with? 426 yards. Sure.
Yeah.
If your run game is getting you more than 3.9, sure. But and you're not on your your third string running back, for God's sake, you're on your fourth string. You're on fourth string at that point, because he had to hop off on one leg. So you're on Victor Dawson, who I believe is a walk-on.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So
no, I think it was Kobe that ran that ball
on the RPO.
That was before he got hurt.
Maybe that was where he got hurt.
I think he got hurt on a dump off over on the sideline on a first down.
Wow.
They dumped it off to him. He got the first down at like the 30 or the 35 or whatever, and then he had to hop off. You got
a quarterback who's carving up your defense for 426 yards. Then yeah, I'm just saying.
I know. I'm just telling, like, it's one of those like it triggers
it's like when Sat said last year, I ran it right before halftime from the 30-yard the opposite 30, because I did it one time and it worked, and I was just trying to get lightning in a bottle again. What?
Burkhalter played, but he didn't play a ton because Xavier Henderson is a bad mofo. And he plays Hendo. Hendo is a bad mofo. And what he finished, 7 catches, 127 yards. The long touchdown.
Beautiful.
42 yards.
Would love to hear what Marty Gilliard had to say about that pass and catch.
Joe Royer, 7 catches for 66 yards. Manny Covey, 6 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they didn't get him going running the ball, but they definitely got him going in the passing game. And you know, that comeback doesn't happen if he doesn't bust that 75-yard play to the house, because it would have taken too much time. You know, it would have been very difficult. And then he takes that one and houses it. So that was a big one. Kiner, we don't know, Robert. I mean, you gotta, guys, we're never gonna know an hour after the game unless a guy like breaks his leg. Like, they have to get home, like X-ray, like do MRIs, like do doctor stuff and find out what exactly is wrong. And then we kind of have a better idea on injuries. He was standing there over on the sideline, so it didn't look like he broke his leg.
The bone is sticking out. Yeah, we'll know.
Yeah, he's out. But he was over there, like, it looked like ribs, like looked like something rib oblique area that he was kind of favoring. You don't have to ask, Robert. You're asking to drive me insane, because you know those questions drive me nuts, because I get them every week and they drive me nuts every week.
You'd also probably have a better answer if this had been a home game as opposed to an away game.
Yeah, I would be on the field and would be able to kind of ask around.
Little birdies.
Yeah, little birdies work a lot better at home. Was it a rib injury? I think so, Noah, but I'm not 100% on that. It's the second time I've asked today. I know. You asked in DMs on Twitter too. I think it's a rib injury, but I don't have that 100%.
I thought that every receiver made at least one gigantic play. Huge hat tip to Jamoy Mays.
He had a big game. And Tony Johnson.
But going all the way back to the beginning of the game, if he doesn't recover that fumble, you're starting off the game in a world of hurt. But Jamoy Mays, I feel like, made just big play after big play when it was time to come up with a play.
And Tony Johnson did too. Like those two were exactly what we talked about. They needed as a combo from your number 2 receiver. They combined for what? Tony Johnson, 5 catches, 161 yards. Jamoy Mays, 5 catches,
just 61 yards. Not 161.
Yeah, 61 yards. So what? 117 yards on 10 catches from Mays and Johnson. That's that. If you can start getting that regularly across from Henderson with Royer in the middle. They didn't have anybody really in the slot today. No Tyron Smith, no Aaron Turner. Found out about those, right before Keegan had those right before kickoff. So we'll see what the deal with those two is. The bye's coming at a good time.
Why not do more with Barry Jackson then? He was electric at times last season. I'm very confused on
Aaron,
how they're.
I'm not going to complain about what they got. 426 yards passing. There's only so many balls to go around.
Being nitpicky, you lost.
You're angry.
If you scored 51 and not, or I'm 48 and not 41, then we're talking different. But I'm still. I guess I just don't like bringing in Barry Jackson for one end around and that's it. The whole game. Like I feel like
he was in a little bit more. They just didn't throw it to him.
They just didn't use him, right?
They
did thing last week too with him. It's just weird.
Defense was bad. There's no other way to put it. It was always going to be tough because you could see what the game plan was, Aaron. They wanted, early, they wanted to shut down Taj Brooks. They stuffed the box to try to stop him. And they did a pretty good job of that early.
Until they didn't.
Until they started, okay, if you're going to bring everybody, then we're going to hit, like we talked about, where they're going to hit right over your linebackers and in front of your safeties, and we're going to kill you that way.
I thought it was very interesting. The announcers brought up early in the game that the game plan of Texas Tech, and I know you couldn't hear at Holy Grail, but the game plan of Texas Tech was actually to run a lot of the 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets just to outman the safeties and cause issues to where, you got 5 DBs, good luck tackling these dudes. And they just ran dump offs and screens to the tight ends early on, trying to utilize those weapons.
And Cincinnati was selling out to stop the run early. That's why I thought early in the game they were really good on 1st and 2nd down. They did a good job bottling them up early. And then now you have to adjust because they're hitting you with these 7, 8, 12, 15-yard gains over and over again because you got everybody in the box. Now you have to play back a little bit, and then Taj Brooks gets going. That's just to say, was the defense good? No. They did not play a good game. Texas Tech's offense is outstanding. Like, they are very, very good. They've got a really good quarterback. They've got a great running back. They've got an NFL number 1 wide receiver. They are very good.
They whiffed on some tackles when that quarterback decided to run. When he decided to run, he wasn't fast. I didn't think. They just missed him. He was in a lane by himself.
They crashed, and again, it's Taj Brooks, so they crashed too hard on RPOs, and boy, he just exited right out the front door as a defensive end goes running past him to tackle Taj Brooks, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go this way.
He was in the HOV lane by himself.
Yeah, I mean, look, their offense is loaded. They're very, very good. Like, the kid's probably not an NFL quarterback, but he is a really, really good college quarterback. And he's got big-time weapons. Jeremiah Kelly,
the NFL
is
quarterback.
Awesome.
NFL quarterbacks are not overall great right now. He might be an NFL quarterback somewhere.
He might. He could be a backup, I think, depending, if you put him in the right system for sure. But my point being, at what Texas Tech wants to do, he is very good. And he keeps plays alive. Once again, Cincinnati got a bunch of pressure. They just can't get home. They can't get the sack. They can't. The guy has always got that one extra second to get the ball out or to get upfield to make a play before the defense gets there for the sack. Like, they forced him out of the pocket a bunch.
And I mean, there was, of course, as in any game, a fair amount of holding. But that goes both ways.
Yeah.
I obviously like seeing Dante Corleone get pressure. He got, I thought, a fair amount of pressure. But when he's getting pressure, nobody else is getting pressure, and Dante's beating double teams. But
Right.
you don't see, any of the cams coming off the side at that point. You don't see Eric Phillips coming off the side at that point. It's just
Phillips had a rough game. We didn't hear from him a whole bunch. Did he record a tackle? He had one tackle
early.
Yeah,
early.
Garrison. I'm not sure. Do you guys only hear what you want to hear when I speak?
No, I think Garrison usually comments quite a bit when he's here. I think he just got here.
Okay. Well, I just said the defense was bad. They did not play well. But also, Texas Tech's offense is really good. That is a recipe for a team not punting. You know what I mean? Like, when you're not, especially in the second half, there were 5 or 6 times where if they make a tackle, they're going to make Texas Tech make a play on third down or a second long or whatever. It's all good, brother. I got you. It's all good. I'm just saying. Like, I acknowledge the defense did not play well. But I'm also just giving credit to Texas Tech because that is a hard offense to stop. Because you have to sell out to stop one or the other, right? If you sell out to stop the run, they're going to throw it on you. If you sell out to stop the pass and drop everybody into coverage, they're going to run Taj Brooks at you all day through wide open lanes. So which one are you going to pick? And if they're not turning the ball over, which their only turnover was special teams, if they're not throwing, and he didn't really put the ball in danger, it didn't really feel like. There was one play in the back of the end zone where he got hit and underthrew it. And I can't remember who it was. It might have been Kalen Carroll, but couldn't get over quick enough to get his hands under the ball to make the pick.
If the corner is either 2 inches taller or maybe has a half step on that the first touchdown pass that they missed, it was the first end zone pass that Texas Tech had early in the game,
where they almost made the Cam Taylor Britt interception.
Yes, if you're just a hair taller or deeper, or maybe just time the jump just a half second, maybe you make that pick. But they did. Cincinnati just was not able to find the turnovers today.
Do you think the DC doesn't have his players or his scheme not working? I think they are still in a position where they are adjusting to a new scheme, adjusting to a new defensive coordinator, and they're dealing with a bunch of guys dinged up and trying to, piece together what works and what doesn't work. I thought Simeon Coleman, was outstanding a couple times today, shooting through gaps and making plays. Yeah.
I found myself actually fast forwarding 2 years on Simeon Coleman, where he's put on two more years of weight and muscle, and I'm like, beast.
Yeah,
just not yet.
Yeah, I mean, with no Jonathan Thompson,
Dingle looked like he fucked up his hand.
Yeah, and he was almost completely dead arm, trying to get his hand to work. That's usually never a good sign for a linebacker. I saw Monte Whedon out there. I saw 44 running in there a bunch, probably because Thompson was out and Dingle was dinged up a little. But the defense is a work in progress, and we knew that. And we said, we're going to get a better idea because Texas Tech can beat you in a million different ways. Miami and Houston were bad offensive teams. They're bad offensive teams. This was a really, really good offense with a lot of balance and, a lot of different ways to hurt you. And when you don't play at your highest level and they play at a really high level, it's hard to get stops. Like third down was the Bearcats got better in the second half, but at halftime, I thought the story was like Texas Tech dominating third down and Cincinnati not quite. Like their best stuff was on first and second down. They were not, they did a lot of damage on first and second down, but when they got into those third down situations, they weren't great.
They're also one of the best teams in the entire country on fourth down.
I think Cincinnati is the best team in the country on fourth down.
Well, 2 for 2. I know they were top. I thought I heard them say that they were top 5. But 2 for 2 after this game, that's not hurting any of those numbers.
Right. But to be fair, like Cincinnati only punted once. Texas Tech punted once.
Would you have guessed that we would be the team at 78 plays and Texas Tech would be the team at 65?
No. They didn't run their tempo as much as I thought they would.
They sure didn't.
And I wonder if some of that is because go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wonder if some of that was either knowing that we were going to try and control things, so them trying to take the control back, like a power struggle, if you will, or just not knowing what to expect in the second half if Cincinnati decided to go tempo.
I think some of it is, and we talked about this a lot with Pitt, teams that run that tempo want to do so on positive, like, you know, get 7 yards on first down, then you run tempo and you put the defense on their heels. Like I said, I thought Cincinnati's defense for a good portion of the game was really good on first and second down. They just got slaughtered on third down, which Texas Tech was always kind of playing in second and long and third and long more than I thought they would. And I wonder if that's why we didn't see some of that tempo, because they never really got into like a, you know, they call it NASCAR, where it's, you know, just flying down the field. But I thought we would see more of that. But they picked up a bunch of first downs. So you're not going to run as many plays because you're not grinding out, you know, 70-yard, like 13 play, 75, 80-yard drives. What were their drives?
Imagine, while you look that up, I would imagine that most teams aren't rotating their defense the way that Cincinnati is rotating its defense. So if you're trying to go tempo and Cincinnati's rotating their defense as much as Cincinnati rotates its defense, that might not actually be a good idea for you as an offense. You might be setting yourself up to get gassed before the defense gets gassed.
Yeah, I mean, it was 8 plays, 38 yards, 322, 7 plays, 17 yards, 228. That was the turnover on downs early. 775 for 334, 250, 159, 152. The 2 field goals at the end were 546 and 415. Those were their only drives over 3.5 minutes the whole game. So I guess they scored fast, Aaron. Whether they were tempoing or not, they did not have the ball long.
And that's because you had a running back who was gashing you at the end of the game.
He's so good, man. What, 32 carries, 172 yards?
I think he came in leading the conference in rushing yards. Yeah, and 172 is not going to hurt that.
The defense was ass. Yes, we have acknowledged that over and over again. They were not good enough today. Like, there were too many missed tackles, too many plays not made in space where the play was there to be made, and, you know, Brooks breaks through an arm tackle, or there was a bunch of, like, could have had him at the line of scrimmage, and this is why we love Corey Kiner. It's why they love Taj Brooks. Could have had him at the line of scrimmage, and it ended up being a 4-yard gain. Like, damn it, you got the push, you got the pressure, you made contact with him at the line of scrimmage, and now it's 2nd and 6. That's not how that's supposed to go. But he's very good.
Yeah, we kind of saw the opposite of that on, I feel like, a handful of Manny Covey's actual rushes before he decided to just break out and go ballistic on the that screen.
Yeah.
For 71 yards.
Yeah. Sorry, I am texting with Keegan. I was trying to get him to do a pool report.
I do believe I saw somewhere that Tony Pike said that Sorsby may have hurt his non-throwing hand, which is why he had the glove on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as it's not that right hand, boy, keep that thing pristine.
It's the moneymaker.
I'm just so impressed with how calm and collected he is. Like the throw to Mays late, where he rolled out to the right and it looked like he was going to have to throw it away. And he just pops one to Mays like 17 yards down the field, like right in. I'm like, I didn't think that was even humanly possible.
On the run, just that was He's got the baseball background. You saw some of those angled throws that, like some of the baseball throws.
You're right, Robert. That was the throw right after the BS targeting stuff where they erased. They got their 15 yards right away. But think about that. If they get the 15 yards and then he makes that throw on the next play, now they're at like the 12. And now you're thinking, win the damn game. Not just get a field goal, but go win it.
Probably still would have ran an RPO.
Oh, you have anger issues.
Yeah.
Sorsby said it won't be a lingering issue.
I would expect nothing less of that kid.
Yeah. I going through my text, a shout out to Jake Golday in my text messages. He did have a really good game. I thought that was his best game here.
I agree.
By far.
Not even close.
1.5 tackles for a loss. He was flying around quite a bit. Seemed like even if he didn't make the stop, he was in and around the action. So I was really impressed with Golday today. That was looking more like the Golday that everybody was talking about we would see coming into the season. Which tells me he's getting comfortable in the system. He's starting to get his feet under him, and hopefully, he's one of those difference makers at linebacker as the season plays out. Dang, Robert telling you to shut up, Aaron.
It's because he didn't want to. He didn't want to hear the RPO comment. Because he knows it too.
The other thing is, Aaron, if you're hi honey, we're live, we're doing stuff down. Thank you. If you're gonna run RPO, you can't just never run it. Like, you can't just pull it and throw it every time, or it doesn't work. Although with 50 seconds left, it might not. Maybe just throw it. I get it. That's RPO action, Aaron. Sorsby seemed like he had more rushing attempts than not normal tonight. He looked a little, especially as like the comeback was on, he looked a little quicker to get out of the pocket tonight than he had so far this season.
I think he got hit more tonight than he has in any game this season. And I'm not just talking about because he ran more. I think he took more hits in the pocket.
Pitt hit him a lot. I mean, that's the thing about that dude is he will stand in there.
Not afraid.
Yeah.
There were a couple times tonight where I was afraid for him. As the camera pans awful quick when he releases, but you saw it. Yeah. He was getting hit. You knew.
Yeah.
Like, all right, he's back up. We're good.
Well, what happened with no Kiner? Teams are just going to say, okay, like, you're going to have to throw it a bunch, and we're going to blitz. We're going to bring heat trying to get him off rhythm.
You were even okay with Pryor. Pryor was making some moves and he was doing some things. Well, was that before or after he had a hammy injury? Because he reacted the same way when he left with the injury, and I don't know if he was trying to play through the injury or if he also, when the announcers brought up at one point, I thought it was Pryor, he was carrying it in the wrong hand. When he was running down the sideline, he was carrying it in his inside hand. They're like, you should probably protect it on the outside. And then, of course, he fumbles after that because these fucking announcers were trying to jinx us the entire game, starting from before kickoff when they're, the interception. We got to talk about the interception. I don't care. We're going to talk about the interception. I'm not jinxing anything. I'm an announcer.
Yeah. You are an angry elf tonight.
They sent us. We were on ESPN too, and they made sure we had not the B team, the D team.
I think that's Rod Gilmore. Always been Rod Gilmore's time slot because we got it a bunch in the American. That 8:00 Saturday night. God, Rod Gilmore's ESPN2. No, David, we talked about this earlier. The call at the end was only for targeting. It was not a personal foul with review for targeting. It was a flag for targeting. And if they decide there is not targeting, they can pick up that flag. So that was the explanation I was given as I made some phone calls. On the way home, Keegan is trying to, and I imagine probably not going to happen at this point, he is attempting to get a pool call with the reporter or with the officials, and that is what they're going to say. The flag was for targeting. We went to the tape. We deemed it was not targeting. That means the flag gets picked up, and a 10-second runoff is applied. So, is it that the 3-3-5 is just not conducive to stop the run? It depends, Chris. You guys wear me out with the 3-3-5 stuff. You really do.
When you're playing missing dudes on your defensive line that were, supposed to be starters or second team rotation, it's not conducive to stopping the run.
And when you're playing one of the 2 or 3 best backs in the league, I mean, I would have him right now second behind RJ Harvey because Ollie Gordon is not the best back in this league this year so far.
Did you watch the UCF game today?
Yeah, they did a good job on Harvey today, but they did what you have to do to UCF is they got out in front and then sold out to stop the run, and KJ Jefferson's fat ass can't throw.
Well, would have liked to have had KJ Jefferson at quarterback today instead of Baron Morton.
Yeah, Baron Morton was very impressive today. A lot of it is just numbers, Chris. Like that we've talked about it a lot. Today, they committed numbers to stop the run early, and Texas Tech, and they did. They did a good job. And then Texas Tech moved to stopping or moving the ball through the air instead of running it. On that first drive they got for a field goal, did they throw a pass, Aaron? Texas Tech? I think their first 7 plays were handoffs to Taj Brooks.
The first drive, they threw into the end zone and we broke it up.
I think that was their first pass, is what I was getting at.
I think that was.
They ran Brooks all the way down the field, like 4 or 5 yards at a time. And
Hunter, thank you for the donation. He said the best I've felt after a loss in a very long time. The future is bright. Keep the faith. I'll take 100 losses like this over the 7 losses we had, 8 losses, whatever, 8 losses last season. 9 losses. Those are not fun to watch. And while we're at it, just throw in the Fenway Bowl with it. Ugh.
Yeah. It's all just accumulation. He had one other incompletion before that, Jeff. Thanks. I know they ran it a bunch in that first drive, but Cincinnati bowed up. They stopped the run. They committed the numbers to stopping the run. Then Texas Tech made them pay by throwing it, over top of those numbers and in front of the secondary. And they run a lot of those tempo, short timing, quick routes that if your linebackers are up and your DBs are back, they're going to have space in the middle to make plays. And then Cincinnati had to make a decision. They had to put their linebackers in a better position to stop some of those passing plays. And then Taj Brooks got cooking on the ground. So sometimes it's okay to just acknowledge didn't do a good enough job. Other team offense played really well.
Look,
that's okay.
You ever been to Lubbock?
It's hard.
It's hard.
I think we got our answer. They showed a blanket that looked like a tortilla at the end of the game, and it was a flour tortilla.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
flour.
I thought you were going to say it was actually a Texas Tech hockey jersey. Did you know that they designed the hockey jerseys to look like tortillas?
No, I did not know that.
That's a thing that happened.
Okay. You could see them flying on the screen throughout the game.
The sideline announcers, she kept saying that she got hit by however many. She was continuously being pelted by tortillas throughout the game, including at the end when she conducted her interview. And then what's the name of the announcer that we don't like? This
Rod Gilmore.
He told her that's not going to be the last tortilla you get hit by tonight. And it was awkward for everyone. No one talked for like 3 seconds, which is a very long time to have silence on TV.
Why would he say that?
I don't think he knew what else to say, and it was very uncomfortable. I laughed so hard.
Oh. Okay. I thought Logan Wilson had a nice punt return. I'm trying to get us back on track, or we're just going to go ahead and call it a night. It's 1:20 in the morning. It's unfortunate because they did enough things well enough to win the game, but ultimately the mistakes are what I think it came down to, Aaron. Again, you turn it over twice, they score 14 points. They turn it over once, you score 3.
You didn't make them punt until the end of the game.
Right. So, it's there's no moral victories, but it was a positive to see the way that they fought in that second half after things didn't go their way. And that's what we wondered about this team, right? Because last year, as soon as things started to slip, that team folded. This team, down 14 after throwing a pick six, has a field goal, throwing a pick six in the third quarter, whatever it was, has a field goal to tie at the end. I think it was early fourth quarter, wasn't it?
Sure. I think we've seen enough through 5 games to believe the hype from the offseason that this team is different, that they would react differently in the face of adversity. I think that what they were selling, this team has bought in, and we're seeing you did lose, yes, but we're seeing the fruits of the labor come to fruition of
seeing progress.
What the work they put in throughout the offseason.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, the Bearcats fall to 3-2, 1-1 in the Big 12. Bye week, much needed bye week coming up, as they have a bunch of injuries to work through. But we'll still be here this week, even though there's not a game on Saturday. We'll still be here. Maybe work in some basketball this week. See what we can do and get some basketball talk as we get moving. And then 2 weeks from tonight, or 2 weeks from today, whatever, back at it in the bounce house as they take on UCF. I'm feeling much better about that one today. That's going to do it. That's the aftermath. Thanks to Aaron. Bearcat brunch tomorrow at 9:30. I'm guessing most of you will not be up at that point in time, but it'll be live then. Jeff will be there. We'll see ya. That is the Aftermath. Brought to you by Mios, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!